Being organized as a parent is super important, especially with health stuff. So one of the tips that I'd like to give to you today is to get a notebook for each of your children. And my kids have decorated with stickers. Write things down. So if your child complains of a stomach ache, then write down what time it happened, what day it happened, what exactly they were complaining about, what time of the day. You know, if they just ate something prior, just keep notes, because when you go to the doctor, whether it's an earache or a stomach ache or anything, the doctor is going to ask, when did this start? How long has it been going on for? You know, the circumstances, the days. And that's not always something that you think of. You have ear pain. Well, what does the ear pain feel like? Is it in both ears? Is it in just one ear? Is it a sharp pain? You know, all those things. What's happening? So that's going to help the doctor figure out what's wrong with your kid. So in addition to that, when you get blood work done, if you need to follow up and get other blood work done, we'll write that down. Take notes while you're in the doctor's office. I bring this with me when I go to the doctors. I have a nosebleed tracker. So after a few times, I'm thinking, is there a pattern? You know, that kind of thing. I would list all the child's surgeries. If there's anything major, or again, any minor things that might turn into something major, it's always better to have it written down. The other thing that I would recommend is that for your annual visit, if your doctor's office won't book it a year in advance, then I would make a note in my phone, just reminding me, you know, in a few months to call the doctor's office and make an appointment. And I would put it in as an appointment, not just a note. So I would actually put a time, like 9 a.m., call doctor's office 6 months from now, you know, in my planner, so that I remember to schedule those appointments. And if you schedule it early enough, then the appointment times are going to be in your favor too, because hopefully it's before anyone else has called. It's not last minute, so you can schedule them for after school. My favorite thing to write in this book, and this is probably my biggest tip to you, is if your child is on an antibiotic, write out what it's for. So my child just has an ear infection right now, and I noticed on the bottle it says to take one pill every 12 hours, so 6 a.m., 6 p.m. for 10 days. So he took his first dose in the evening, and I checked it off. Because the last thing you want to do is not remember if you gave your child their medicine. So as you check it off, then you'll know. And it's, of course, stick to that time. So put an alarm on your phone for 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. every single day. And then, of course, when you get to this last one, you can delete the reminders. And that's just reminding me that's the last dose. So I feel like this is so important, because you can, easily forget if you've given your child medicine and that's the last thing you want to do, because you don't obviously want to skip a dose if you can't remember. And you don't want to give 2 doses either. So do this. If anything, this is the most important tip, I think. Just when I think I gave you the most important tip, this is probably the most important tip, because it's something that I do every day. So these are just some cups that I got when the kids were babies. I swear, I don't know where the time went. I use it for medicine in the mornings, because there's so much going on in the morning and you want to make sure that your child's taking their vitamins or whatever medicine. You don't want to forget that. And so for daily medicine, I put these on the table, and they each have a seat that they always sit at. So I'll take one of these cups. Obviously I have a few just in case one's dirty, but usually I like them to be the same size, because obviously I set this out right where they would be sitting to eat breakfast, and I put their medicine in it. And that way, if it's empty, I know that they've taken it. This is also a really great place to jot down notes about what your child likes to eat and what they're eating, to make sure that they're eating all of the food groups, but also to ask them, you know, what are your favorite foods? What are your favorite meals? What are your favorite snacks, breakfast, lunch type foods? So that the next time you're at the grocery store, you can get things that they're gonna be more willing to eat, especially if you have picky eaters. And if they're willing to even go to the grocery store with you and pick out a few of those things, or even prepare the food with you, then they're far more likely to eat. If your child is on medication and switches to a different medication, I would notate that too. What was the date? And then, you know, are there any new side effects? Just try to keep track. Again, if there is an issue, the doctor is going to ask you, how long ago did this happen? When did this start? And so often we're so busy that we're like, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and maybe it was 2 months ago. If your child's on a medicine and you need to wean your child off the medication, keep it out so you're paying attention to the days. And again, I would put a reminder in the phone just to remind you that you have to change the dose. But it's good to have it written out so it's very clear. One last thing that I wanted to mention is that I also keep a notebook of our family health history. Of course, I let the kids decorate this one too. I've asked my mother, father, my husband's family what their grandparents and my grandparents have died from or had any complications with in their lives, so that when I go to the doctor or my husband goes to the doctor or our kids go to the doctor and they ask for our family history, we can share that. The sooner you take those notes, the better it's going to be, because all those notes are just going to help the doctors help you. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, Shepherd's Little Helper, so I can bring you more helpful tips.